Welcome back to another episode of 40 Facts About the 40K Universe. I am your host, Gershwin, and you are watching One Mind Syndicate. Today we continue talking about the Death Guard as we get into their prehistory, 3 different occasions that they destroyed an ancient civilization during the Great Crusade. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. We post Warhammer 40K content every single day. If you have any suggestions, comment down below. And with that said, let's get into 40 facts on the Death Guard. The renamed 14th Legion, the Death Guard, fought tirelessly in the service of the Great Crusade, never relenting in battle beneath their Primarch's gaze. They pursued the liberation of mankind with a fever that the Great Crusade had never known. Their restless fleet plowed the cold void from one campaign to the next, resupplying on the move, never pausing but to make war. The Death Guard did not garrison, they did not build, they only tore down and slew, coldly and with determination. With the progress of contingent or a tsunami wave, the worlds fell before them. Over time, Mortarion shaped the creed and practices of the Death Guard, his beliefs in many ways forming a natural extension of their own beliefs and doctrines, becoming ever more refined and extreme. At the heart of them was an unshakable determination that mankind should be free of oppression and terror. In the Primarch's mind, such freedoms could only be won by destroying those that would shackle and devour humanity. This was a war to be fought without mercy or limits, without restraint or relenting. The battle for humanity's future was one that could only be won by enduring any hardship, no matter how terrible, and not shrinking from any act, no matter how savage in pursuit of victory. This single end, the liberation of humanity to Mortarion's creed, justified any means. Mortarion took command of his new army with proprietarial severity. Though he was cold and aloof towards his sons, they worshipped him unquestioningly and followed his teachings to the letter. Mortarion saw in them an opportunity to continue his labor upon barbarism. He would forge the Death Guard into perfect infantrymen, adaptable and self-reliant warriors who specialized in the use of durable weaponry that was easily maintained and resupplied. The Death Guard were taught to choose the best ground, and then to grind their enemies down upon it with massed infantry formation. They were the anvil to their allies' hammer, or else the bludgeon that battered the foe into submission. Some amongst Mortarion's brother Primarchs disparaged his tactics as blunt and unimaginative. In truth, the doctrines of the Death Guard were durable and efficient, and demonstrated a remarkable talent for grassroots material organization that earned the Death Guard a truly impressive honor roll of victories during the Great Crusade. Mortarion's gene seed made his sons hardy through his swift imposed regimes of toxic hardening and extreme environmental tempering. The formal Dust Raiders became more durable than ever. This inherent toughness only increased, for Mortarion recruited the bulk of his new legionnaires from Barbarous. They deployed into the most hazardous war zones, where even the other Space Marines hesitated to tread, and made widespread use of rad and Sosfex weapons, alongside prescribed viral agents that soon earned them something of a dark reputation amongst their brothers. Mortarion cared not for the distaste of his peers. His personal mission was the overthrowing of tyrants, beings such as the Carrion Lords of Barbarous, and he took pride as his sons could employ their own rugged strength to defend those too weak to protect themselves. The Conquest of Gaspar was the first major independent campaign conducted by the Death Guard after Mortarion took charge of the 14th Legion. The conquest of the non-compliant Hive-World of Gaspar remains one of the most remarkable and brutal victories of the Great Crusade's course through the near reaches of the Segmentum Pacificus. Gaspar was the main Hive-World located at the heart of a pocket empire consisting of 11 primary stars in a cluster proximity. Gaspar and its satrap worlds had been for centuries the thrall to a bureaucratic tyranny known simply as the Order, which reduced its people to labor units, to immediately be euthanized when they no longer had value to its system, and ruled through a mixture of crushing oppression and forced chemical dependence. When Imperial explorator ships first entered the Gaspar cluster, they were immediately fired upon, and all subsequent communications were met with violence. The estimate of military resources to take this system was extremely high, and such forces assigned to the Segmentum were unavailable at the time. The newly discovered Primarch, Mortarion, petitioned the Emperor for the opportunity to bring this system into imperial compliance. The Emperor acquiesced and allowed his newly discovered son to proceed. The 14th Legion attacked without warning, the Death Guard fleet bludgeoning its way through the system's outer defenses on a direct course for their target world. Caring nothing for secondary targets, the Death Guard attacked the Hive world, taking the fight to the planet's surface. With their capital ships unleashing a hurricane of their own supporting fire, Mortarion descended through the fire and ash to the surface in a specially configured assault barrack, the Fourth Horseman. The barrack smashed into the upper structure of the primary Hive fortress, causing a massive Hive quake. The Death Guard then launched a massive wave of drop pods and Storm Eagle gunships in the barrack's wake, descending to the surface like a force of nature. 11,000 gray-clad space marines with Mortarion's spectral figure at their head. Death had come to Gaspar. Slowly, the Death Guard proceeded to kill anyone that took up arms against them. The troops of the Order found themselves recoiling in terror at the onslaught of the unstoppable enemy. The Order's generals blindly continued to force their drugged slave soldiers against the armored giants. The resultant slaughter was on an unimaginable scale. There was no mercy, no one relenting in the Death Guard's punishment, whether the enemy had to be run down in the poisoned, reeking Hive sumps or across the blasted red wastes. No one member of the Order survived. When the Imperial support fleet arrived, they were horrified by the aftermath of the slaughter. The billions of humans, liberated by the Death Guard, were almost childishly eager to accept the Emperor's servants and adopt their ways. In the wake of the Conquest of Gaspar, the cluster of worlds quickly capitulated with terrified speed, all willing to submit to Imperial compliance under any terms, as long as they were spared the Reaper's scythe. After the Conquest of Gaspar, on the world of Kajor, during the Great Crusade, the Death Guard Legion encountered a warrior race of humans that had fallen to barbarism. Extensive orbital surveying detected no trace of advanced technology, yet it took the 14th Legion nearly 6 months to bring Kajor to submission. Though the Kajori were savages, armed with little more than blades and crude flintlock carbines, this feral race was able to hold the Death Guard at bay. They were able to do so because they possessed fell powers and unseen allies. Every night, creatures of witchery hunted in the shadows and killed for joy of killing. Blood-red hounds stalked the darkness of the forests with savage instinct, and the juggernauts of thunder broke the Death Guard's line with every charge. That anything could sunder a Death Guard formation was nothing short of a miracle. Mortarion's warriors had fought xeno-species of every stripe and defeated them all, but these were no creatures of flesh and blood. These were summoned into life by Kajori warlocks. These magi conjured lightning from their flesh, set fire with their thoughts, and cracked the very earth with their shouted oaths. No power comes without a price, and with every victory the Death Guard won, they discovered what that truly meant. At the heart of every city they captured, Death Guard warriors found vast structures that came to be known as blood veins. Each one was a charnel house of bone and death. They destroyed every one, and with each one lost, the strength of the foe waned. In the end, the Death Guard ground down every force sent against them. Surrender was not in the Kajori's blood, and they died to a man, destroyed by a ruling caste of warlocks who could not bear to relinquish their power. In quieter moments, Mortarion still thought of the Kajor campaign and shuddered. Mortarion would later recount the tale of this campaign during the Council of Nicaea as one example of many why he took a personal stance against sorcery and the use of psychic abilities. Many years later, the Death Guard participated in another campaign known as the Joral Execution. This was carried out during the Great Crusade against a Xenos race of humanoid aliens known as the Joral. They possessed a basic humanoid anatomy and also bled dark crimson-colored blood, similar to the color to that of humans, but their brain and central nervous system was located inside their chest cavity. Nearly all Jorgali featured extensive cybernetic physical enhancements to improve their physical form and enhance their fighting abilities, such as hands replaced by leather claws, feet replaced by wheels for rapid mobility, and telescopic cameras for eyes, as well as a subdermal protective armor. Some Jorgali even had basic needler-type weapons implanted within cavities of their bodies. They occupied the Tassica Belt and the Phalan system in Imperial space. Elements of the 1st, 2nd, and 7th Company, with Mortarion as the commander, launched an assault into the main Joral cylinder world. This battleground was suited to the Death Guard's unique talents. The Joral would breathe a mixture of oxygen and nitrogen with a heavy concentration of chlorine, a weak poison that the Death Guard Astartes' lungs could resist with little effort. First, Captain Callus Typhon provided support for the Primarch, while Commander Ignatius Grulgor penetrated the drive cluster and took out the control of the cylinder world's motive power center. Battle Captain Nathaniel Garo, alongside an elite cadre from the Sisters of Silence, neutralized the construct's hatcheries. Following their hard-fought victory, there was dissenting voices from the Adeptus Mechanicus contingent on board the warship Spectral of Death, petitioning Mortarion for a few days in which to loot the alien craft for technology. The Primarch, as was his prerogative, refused the request. The letter of Malcador the Sigillite's orders, and therefore by extension those of the Emperor himself, was that the Joral incursion into the sector was to be exterminated and nothing more. The Master of the Death Guard clearly saw no point of confusion in this order. Nothing was to be left of these aliens. And those were 40 facts on the Death Guard. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to share it with your friends on Facebook or Reddit. It really helps out the channel when you share, so please share them with your friends if you enjoy our content. What's interesting about the Death Guard is that even from the beginning, they were basically immune to poisons. They were immune to atmospheres that would kill normal humans, and they were tough. They were very resilient. Ironically, they did not like chaos, and then they would turn to chaos later on in the future. It is known that Mortarion hates the fact that he does have chaotic powers or psychic powers, and same thing with his Legion. He hates the fact that his Legion uses psychers and stuff like that, just because of that campaign where he saw the destruction that was caused by more than likely Khorne. But yeah. And then you also notice how with every single civilization encountered and every civilization that the Death Guard destroyed, this goes for everybody during the Great Crusade. Every Imperial unit during the Great Crusade, they destroyed nations that were no better or no worse than what the Imperium is now. So it's kind of ironic that they killed off all these civilizations, but you can see these civilizations still existing, or at least the oppression still existing in the current 40K time. So that was interesting. As you can tell, I'm still pretty sick, and I'll continue to create Nurgle videos and Death Guard videos and like Mortarion videos until I get better. So if you have any suggestions, please comment down below. I hope you guys are enjoying our content. Any other suggestions are welcomed as well. Just, if it's Nurgle and Mortarion or whatever, that would help out a little bit more. Now, we also have a Patreon link down in the description below. You could support us on there. It's a simple $1 a month, and it just helps us create more videos, and it helps us do the giveaways. There should be a giveaway on Facebook going on right now. There's going to be a starter set giveaway coming pretty soon. It's not a Nurgle giveaway, so until I get better, I won't put that giveaway out. But it is coming soon. So if you want to support us over there, that's what that support is for, the giveaways. So again, thank you so much for everything. And I'll talk to you tomorrow. This is Garshuan with One Mind Syndicate signing out.
Always used to put my freedom first in any situation.